How did you get associated with Bunkheads?
Bunkheads, I saw it online. A breakdown for it, one of the casting websites, and I loved the description of the show, of my character, and I submitted for it. Just kind of threw my hat in the ring and was happy to get an audition. Auditioned, went through callbacks, kind of the whole casting process from beginning to end, and then eventually got word that I was cast.
During the audition process, were you auditioning alongside the other actors for the other characters, or was it just a one-on-one with the casting director?
No, they did do chemistry reads. So I think both in the audition and the callback, I was with some of the other actors, and it's funny, in the end, I don't think I ever actually auditioned with the other people who were ultimately cast. So, read with a bunch of different people, and it was always fun and kind of very, they were open to improv and had a really fun audition experience. And then in the end, ended up working with people I hadn't yet met.
When you're trying to figure out chemistry between the characters, how much time did you have to kind of work all that out, or was it just a work in process as the series was filming?
Yeah, I actually really appreciated the way Lauren Clixbull, the director, and Will Gahn, the writer, our producer, Dave Ryder, they all put together multiple chances for us to kind of get to know each other before we started shooting. So when we were first cast, we did a day where we kind of did some promotional photos and got to know each other then, and then we went out for dinner. We got Mexican food together and just kind of got to hang out and get to know each other with no pressure. And then later on, we got together again for kind of lunch and a table read. So we got to actually, get into character a bit and see what everybody was bringing to the table before we actually, got on set. So I think by the time we actually were filming our first day, we all felt pretty comfortable with each other. I think just casting-wise, they did a good job. We all really just got along as people and as actors. So by the time I started filming, it felt very natural.
Did the set itself help to kind of bring out that claustrophobic feeling and that kind of the kind of monotonous that goes along with being trapped with somebody for too long? Did that kind of help the experience you needed as an actor to bring out that sort of genuine, I don't even know what you would call it, I guess, just making that whole thing a little bit more genuine.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely, I will say when I walked onto the soundstage the first day, I was totally impressed with the bunker that they had created. I think it felt very authentic. Even just the colors, the styling, it was gray and kind of, not dreary in a way that's so dark and now we're in this drama, but, you do feel like, dang, if you're down here for a year, it's nice, but it's a bunker. And so being in that space definitely brought the story to life just emotionally on another level, for me at least. They did a good job, we used it as the main living space and then converted it into the bedrooms. And just being in that environment made the whole situation that much more real. Even had, the ladders going upstairs or up to above ground, so you got this feeling that, like, you are really trapped, you're below ground, and this is where you've been for a year. And that would kind of drive anybody nuts.
When I talked to Chris O'Brien a little earlier, he said that all of the exterior shots were all shot in one day. How was that as an experience?
Yeah, it was honestly, it was pretty fun, and it was a little bittersweet. It was actually our last shoot day. We did all of our exteriors, and it was a gorgeous location, and we covered a lot of ground. We had, I think it's true for all of our shoot days. We shot the whole thing, I think, in 6 days. So basically it turned out to be like an episode a day. So, we were cruising through material at a pretty quick rate. But, as far as locations go, it was pretty gorgeous. So it was nice to in between takes or in between scenes, you're just hanging out in this beautiful kind of deserty mountain range. So it was nice, honestly. But the thing that I kind of remember about it was being a little bummed that it was our last shoot day, and after that it was just all let's hope for season 2. But it was a really fun group of people to work with, and that was the big last day for us.
How do you think you personally would fare in a situation of being stuck with strangers for a prolonged period of time in such a confined space? How do you think you would handle that situation?
I mean, I feel like the answer I'd like to give is like, oh yeah, be okay. Honestly, I feel like I would start to go a little batty after a while. I definitely, I love being around other people and, companionship, but I definitely like my alone time, space to myself. There's without getting into too many spoilers, there's one point where Dani, my character, kind of finally puts her foot down and demands her own private time. She wants space. She basically kicks the boys out above ground, like, take your baseball bat or whatever you need to deal with the zombies, but like I need my private time. And that I could definitely relate to on a very real level, because I think at some point just not having personal space would just really get to me.
And right now, Bunkheads is available to stream on Amazon Prime.
Yep. Yeah, we are on Amazon Prime.
Is it going to be available through other video-on-demand services, or is it strictly a Prime exclusive?
At the moment, I think we are exclusively on Amazon Prime. If that ever changes in the future, I'm sure we'll shout about it online on any of our social media accounts. But right now, we are exclusively on Amazon Prime.
Okay. Speaking of social media accounts, how can viewers follow up with you or get to see what projects you're working on now? What social media sites can they go to?
Yeah, sure. I am on Twitter and Instagram with the handle Thus Spake Carly. It's a bit of a mouthful. So that's THUSSPAKECARLY, my name, Thus Spake Carly. And I just have a website where I post updates and links to other things. You can find my social media there. So it's just my name, Carly Turro @gmail.com. CarlyTurro @gmail.com.
All right. And for my final question, how did you get started in show business? What was the thing that made you want to be part of this profession?
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting question, because it took me a little while to figure it out. Growing up, I always kind of self-identified as kind of an academic. I really loved science. I went to college for biology, and out of college started working at a hospital. I thought I was going to go to med school. I was studying for the MCAT and just kind of really full steam ahead on that path. And finally realized as I was working at a hospital and really getting closer and closer to med school that maybe that was not just a bad idea for me, but maybe a terrible idea. I didn't think I would actually be happy doing that. I loved the idea of it, I think, more than the reality of, that career. And at that point, I had to figure out, well, if I don't want to do this one thing that I've been basically pursuing my entire life, like what else do I want to do? And I had no ideas. I was kind of stumped, and it was really just, I felt like I needed to shake myself out of my comfort zone. So to me, that meant I was living in New York at the time, and I thought, well, I can do something artsy and creative and kind of get back to that side of myself that I had really ignored for a while. I did chorus and band and musical theater in high school. And so I took an acting class just for fun and loved it, as you might guess, because I kept doing it. I kept taking more and more classes and realized over time that it wasn't just a hobby. It was actually something I really wanted to pursue. And then once I made that decision, I really haven't looked back. That's been what I've been pursuing now for the last, I don't know, on that time, maybe 5 or 6 years.
And you wouldn't trade it for anything, right?
No. Yeah, now that I'm doing it, I mean, it took a little while to figure out, for sure. But now that I'm doing it, I'm so grateful and glad that I finally found my way into this crazy little career acting, and I write as well now too. But basically, creative storytelling has been quite the discovery for me. I really can't picture myself doing anything else.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Carly, for calling and talking about Bunkheads. I really appreciate it. And
yeah.
It's interesting to hear a story like yours where acting was not the first and only choice. It's especially to go to school for specifically that and see that kind of change.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I've always, there's a little part of me that's always jealous when, I meet other actors or writers or directors and they talk about when they were kids, they just wanted to put on a song or a dance for their parents, and they knew their whole life that they wanted to perform. And I think that's awesome in its own right. And I was not that kid. I was shy and, had my nose in a book most of the time. So for me, sometimes I think, oh man, I wish I started younger. Maybe how much further along could I be in my career if I had started younger? But at the same time, I couldn't trade any of my experiences along the way. It took me going into a biology program and, working at hospitals and, internships I had that were not related to acting to kind of make me the person I am today. And it's the person I am today who can act and loves acting, and I feel more prepared for this career personally than if I had just jumped into it as a teenager or, younger. But it is an interesting little route I've taken, but it's been fun.
All right. Thank you again, Carly. I really appreciate it, and I hope Bunkheads gets a second season to see more of you on the screen.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, fingers crossed. I would love that.